the industries are going through a significant transformation. They have been challenged to be more productive, efficient, and more resilient. Customers are seeing the value of AI. It's cutting the maintenance cost up to 30%, improving the asset reliability by 20%, reducing the carbon emissions by 15%, bringing the energy consumption down by 20%.
AI at Michelin is a double challenge of scale and continuous integration of new technologies, and Microsoft is helping us on both, all across the value chain, from research and development, where we invent new materials, manufacturing, supply chain, service and solution, and in between marketing and sales.
We are committed to using AI and automation to innovate and drive more sustainable material science solutions.
Digital is a key enabler, and we are creating a digital backbone that enables us to be competitive into the future.
The biggest transformation that we are looking at right now is actually around data. We can see that the digital and the physical world is really melting together.
Every single day, we are helping farmers on the fields, we are helping to cure diseases, and we are helping our consumers get healthier. We really want to be at the forefront of innovation. That's the reason why we are trying out new technologies.
Trabajar con Copilot Studio y Power Apps nos motiva a todos a crear un trabajo de mayor valor. Por eso disfruto mucho mi trabajo.
Good afternoon. It's great to have you all here for our session. This is going to be a really interesting talk because it deals with industrial AI in reality, in its implementation. What does it really mean to take advantage of this technology with specific cases, with specific examples? And we have two amazing speakers coming with me to help me tell this story. But before I do this, I wanted to give you a bit of an introduction, a setup to how the story really unfolds and how we think about it. And one thing that's different with AI, one thing that we see by talking to all of you, to our customers, is that there is a growing confidence that this brand new technology, that the one that's still developing and unfolding in front of us, in front of our eyes, is actually making a difference. Companies across the whole industrial space and across all the industrial aspects of enterprise, all the enterprises are seeing impact of agentic AI, of AI making differences, not just for the processes of the enterprise, but to the people, to the suppliers, to the whole ecosystem that we work with. And that confidence is unusual when you think about other transformations that we went through as an industry over the last 20 years. That level of confidence, 87% of us believing that we can make a difference with a new technology this early in the adoption cycle, is something that I have not seen before. Now, I want you to think about what does it mean and what AI really does to us. It's a new set of ideas, new set of concepts and tools that are available to us that were not there when we started to build our companies. Then we started to invent processes, when we started to invent business models, and bring technology to help us automate what we do. AI changes how this plays out, changes what we can do today. So I want to open this talk, and I want you to think about this question as you listen to me and you listen to the other two speakers that are coming to join me here. If you were using AI today, if you had all those tools, AI tools available to you today, how would you have rebuilt and rethought your business and think about it from the perspective of what's now possible with AI? Would you have done things differently? Would you have started them differently? Would you created new business processes, and would you created new business models and rethink what it is technology allows you and how much automation, how much human involvement is needed to be able to run your business? Would you do it in a new way? So with that question, I want to introduce you to three concepts that I would love for you to hold as you try to answer this question. The first one is what AI does to the concept of intelligence. And when we think about intelligence, when I think about intelligence, I think about humans. We are the ones who are conscious, intelligent, able to make decisions. But now this is changing. Now with AI, intelligence becomes a commodity, something that machine can use and leverage at some level. That is a fundamentally different thing. intelligence with us is something very unique and very fragile. We get sick, we don't want to come to the office, we can only think and be productive for so long. We need to be trained, we have to go to university, that's how we build our skills. That changes when intelligence becomes a commodity, when it's available for every process, in every component of your enterprise, 24/7 throughout the year. There is a new idea and a new concept, and it changes how we approach solving problems when that intelligence is available to us all the time at cents to a unit of intelligence. That's brand new. The second thing that happens is that with this intelligence available in agents for us, we can now create a new type of organizations, a new type of teams in our enterprises. We can now work directly with agents as we used to work with humans. And again, we're not used to it. We've never done it before. What does it mean to collaborate with another intelligence? With somebody who can make decisions or help you with decisions, something that can make decisions on your behalf or advise you on those decisions. That type of collaboration is something that we need to learn. Now, beyond the human agent teams, there is another concept, and that one really goes to the very core of what you're going to hear for the rest of the session. AI allows us now to shrink and sometimes collapse processes. A lot of things that we've built for the enterprise was built because we needed to control those processes. We needed to oversee of how things are done from step 1 to step 200. And we need an organization to be able to control how these processes, how these steps are being delivered on. But when those processes with this abundant intelligence are being disappearing on us, we may have to rethink of what does it mean, how we organize ourselves. We no longer organize ourselves by following the steps in the process. We now need to organize ourselves by what it is that we want the outcome to be, because the steps are going to be delivered for us, and with our support with this new abundant intelligence. So these three ideas are new to us and are changing how we're approaching and thinking about what AI really means and what does it mean for us to be this frontier organization that you've heard so much over the last 2 days. It's clearly a journey. It's not a single-step destination. And you're going to see this point made by me and by my speakers here in a moment. I wanted to give you a model of what the journey looks like so you can feel more comfortable when you listen to and hear about what solutions are being deployed by your colleagues and peers. The first step in this journey is something that you probably all do. This is AI being an assistant. You ask a question, and LM is able to, based on the data you provided it or generally available, is able to give you an answer. So this is the question and answer type of support. It's very useful. I use it every day. I do my research this way. I ask questions related to my daily work. I use Copilot. Many functions in the enterprise can already be automated and supported with AI playing this role. But when you go deeper, when you go into the industrial space, it's getting more interesting and it's getting way more complicated. Because now you can think about AI not simply answering the questions that you know how to articulate, but being a collaborator in the processes that you already manage and run and you're responsible for, which means there is not an individual one-to-one correlation or interaction with the intelligence, but interaction of the whole teams. And AI can play a much more active role, can actually help you actively point you to a question that you may want to ask, or catch you on making a mistake. You make an order for 2,000 units of whatever it is that you're ordering, but for the last 10 years, this was 200,000 units. Maybe the AI can actually guide you to the fact that you may be making a mistake. And then there is a third stage. There is a stage when AI takes even more active role, not only supporting you and your team, but actually helping you orchestrate complete processes. I'm not sure how many of you are already that far in your AI journey. I see some customers pushing the AI this far, but this is definitely where this process is going and could be going. Because that means that AI now is in a position, by actively acting on your advice or with you, collapse the processes and make those processes disappear in terms of the set of actions that you have to take and orchestrate them from end to end. Now, I have two amazing speakers that are going to come and join me here. The first of them is Rajesh Ramachandran from ABB, and he's going to share with you over the next 10 minutes of what his organization, ABB, is doing to introduce AI to his customers. Rajesh, if you could join me on stage.
Thank you.
I'm going to share my clicker, and it's all yours.
Great. Thanks, Adam. Yeah, it's 10 minutes. I'll use every second of it. I'm sure that most of you know ABB. It's a global tech leader, 140 years of heritage, more than 100 countries we serve, headquartered in Swiss, over about 100,000 employees. For us, we have been a leader in automation and electrification, and we serve customers in terms of making them to outperform leaner and cleaner. The intersection of operations, assets, and sustainability is what we do for our customers. I mean, what you see here are the different industries, including from success for the industries on energy side, utilities side, mining, energy intensive, asset intensive industries, and so on. Of course, also for the space to create sophisticated instrumentation, so on for the customers. And of course, the marine is another big business for us, where we have more than 6,000 vessels connected to one GenX cloud, which is our platform. AI for us has been a journey for more than about 10 years, in which that first part of the journey is to look at how do you build industrial AI models, use it for decision support, but also make the machines to be intelligent. That's where we started, as many of us would have started, right? But now, for the last couple of years, we are in the journey of seamlessly moving our customers from automation to autonomous journey. And for us, autonomous means two things. One is that try to solve things which we don't anticipate, which is not in your control loop, which you see in the left. B, it is also to make human a lot more autonomous. I will talk about it in a second. So it's about bringing that the extra layer from your connected operations to make it really as autonomous. And I'm sure that this is something you love it. It's kind of different stages of autonomy, and for this we call it industrial autonomy. 0 is there is no AI, whereas when we talk about level 5, human is not there, only the AI or the autonomous operations. I don't believe that we will get 5 as our end state for industries. It will be somewhere between 4 and 4.5. And that's exactly that we navigated in the last couple of years, starting from level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll show you 3 examples as possibly as a takeaway for you. Right. Number 1, as I said, here we applied industrial AI. Of course, we partnered with Microsoft in 2016. We built a GenX industrial IoT and AI platform. Multiple industries, energy, utilities, transportation, mining, chemicals. Here, what you see here is that how do you connect the different layers to bring the data to connected process, connected assets, and provide set of experts building the industrial AI models. They make machines intelligence by means of taking closer to the processes in using edge AI, but also the people sitting for making the better decision support and helping customers for insights. That's the first stage. Then we also took it to the next stage. In this case, an example is we changed the life of the captain in the ship. So they become more of just being supervising, but autonomous happens actually in the operations. And it's being controlled, it's being actually guided by the people. The guys, the experts who used to sit in the ship are now sitting in our remote center, which we call as Fleet Operating Center. These people are now able to manage thousands of vessels assisted by the AI. The AI is doing majority of the job, but these people are adding additional insights on top of that. It's not only about just bringing the AI and making the life of the people easier, but also making a real impact on sustainability, energy efficiency, fuel efficiency, dynamic routing, making safer, increasing the asset reliability, and so on. The next stage is I'm pretty excited about is when we started with Microsoft in middle of 2023 on bringing generative AI for industrial operations. So here now moved from the analytical AI to generative AI. One of the examples which is very closer to my heart is that it changed a transformative impact for the people on the shop floor and field operations. It was for me when I visited one of the customers in Middle East, they said that, for me, if I'm able to manage with just 2 people on a control room of the entire solar plant which we manage it, that's fundamentally autonomous operations for them, right? So here, very simple, the person, an instrumentation engineer here, is able to now directly look at using the dynamic QR code here, able to scan an instrument, which is a gas analyzer here, connecting to the Genix Copilot on the cloud, able to get all the expertise of ABB here in 24/7 without having a service engineer from the ABB side. It gives you the real data of the error codes, what should be the action taken, as well as finally helping on what's recommendations. And of course, it automates using the Agentic AI for filing even the service tickets. That's clearly an example where we saw that 80% of the technical issues were solved by the user, the customer by themselves. It's a big deal for empowering the shop floor engineer or the field operations engineer to use the power of AI. And this is our pretty pride that we have brought in for the industry on instrumentation side. The last example for me is that how does it really happen? I just showed an example that real time they are able to get the insights to make the decisions. But what's behind is the whole power of the agentic automation. In this case, more than about 20 different agents for different systems are having the data from the operational data to work order data to the IT data to also the human intelligence, which is a knowledge base, all are brought together. And it is actually giving in seconds what is needed to make that human or the person who is actually in the shop floor to make the right decision, as well as even make it autonomous of making the decisions directly, right? Of course, we have evolved from the analytical and generative and agentic with the Genix as our platform, which is actually on the top leader in the Gartner and all the quadrants. A lot of deployments which we have seen that the real benefits of using the industrial AI along with generative and agentic AI. This is my last information. We have seen that in last 12 months, quite a lot of use cases using the generative and agentic AI has seen significant value to our customers, and also changing our own experience of creating the customers, like for instance, services copilot, how our service engineers are able to bring a value to our customer and change the experience. I would love to be talking to you more on this when you want to discuss with me, and of course, you'll see a lot of material there in ABB's site about the use cases here. With that, I'll give back to you, Adam.
Rajesh, thank you so much. So let's switch industries. Let's now hear from Johannes from Krones, and let's see what the implementation of AI looks like in a very different place, and maybe compare and contrast those two worlds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adam, for introduction. A very interesting talk before, and now I will introduce you a little bit in the world of liquid food manufacturing. Krones is the world's biggest company for building lines and machines in the liquid food manufacturing sector. We are about 20,000 people, and we are 70 years old, and we build filler machines, labelers, everything around the bottle and the can to bring it to the supermarket. Our customers are the big companies, from the supermarket of buying bottles and cans and getting very fast and efficient different liquids inside the bottle or the can. And according to that, we have many challenges to solve in our environments. And one of the big challenges is the filling process. It's one of the first processes in a typical handling of bottles is to bring the liquid inside the bottle. And we have here speeds up to 100,000 bottles an hour, what means milliseconds per bottle. And what you see here on the right is a filler system, how the bottle is filled with such high speeds with a rotational structure, what is typical Krones. You have here different stars inside where the bottle is handled. And you see here in this illustration how the bottle runs through this filler system. The thing is, to get these speeds, the bottle is always rotated very fast, and in the area where the bottle is open and the cap is not on it, there is fluid open in the bottle, and it can be that this fluid splashes out in the rotational process. And this is a bad thing, because if it happens, you have three problems. First problem is you lose efficiency. Second problem is you have a mess in the manufacturing area, in the shop floor of the customer. And the third thing is you are not able to get a perfect process, and that is not what you want, because you want a perfect process. And so on. It's always a run on the border to get here the maximum of speed without splashing. And to avoid that, we have the idea of simulations to be sure that it will not splash. And when we started with Microsoft about 1 year ago, we had a, let's say, old school simulation according to that, and without AI, or with a small amount of it, and we were really slow with that. So a simulation of this process needed about 5 hours, and we got in the end only the answer, maybe it could splash or not, or maybe sure not, or maybe sure yes. And then rearrangement of the parameters and start from zero. And that is not what we wanted for the future, because the future of drones is to have connected lines where are completely intelligent, regulated, and you know what happens inside there. So together with Microsoft, we started the situation that we said, okay, we need to gain fluid simulations with better detailed recommendations, what is happening here. And exactly for this situation, as illustrated here in the left side in the bottom, we need a proof of concept that a simulation together with partners can be able to be very fast, let's say in some minutes, to get in the customer dialogue the perfect parameter set for not splashing by maximum output of the filler. And this is a really complex thing. People of you who are engineers or something like that know that fluid simulations are a complex thing. They are nonlinear, and it's a very hard, tough task to be sure that it's not happening. And so the idea was to bring the filler system together with several other components from the line to a digital twin with a scalable solution according to Omniverse, an Azure solution with calculation empowered by hardware. There we had as well NVIDIA in the boat for the partnership. And we, based on AI-trained physical fluid models with high-end fluid simulation, a spillage AI gives a first recommendation if the splash case is critical or not. And according to that, that's a thing of seconds, not hours. According to that, we can run as well a full fluid simulation in about 5 to 7 minutes, okay, before 5 hours. And here we don't have any one calculation result in one number. We have here a full animation of the result in an animation. According to these project publications, in a film, it's as well accessible over World Wide Web here with this link. You can find it as well on x.com. Together with Microsoft sponsored, we decided to go to the biggest fair in the world on the drink tech in September this year. And we presented there this showcase. And we are as well convinced that this is only the starting point, because at the moment we are as well dealing with digital twin applications as well for the preform heating. For plastic bottles, you need to heat up the plastic. There's as well a big nonlinear challenge to get the best parameters. As well, we have bottling stream simulations of the dry part of our lines, where the bottles are running out of the line when they are filled and labeled. And this is as well a complex thing to have here a perfect handling without traffic jams of the bottles in the later phase. And so several use cases inside this digital twin we will enforce in the next time. And the idea is to be next year in the Hannover Messe in Germany, on the world's biggest mechanical engineering trade, and present there the next step of our ideas. And the next step of our ideas, according to this awesome feedback from the drink tech, you can see as well, is to bring the full digital twin of the whole lines in our industrial metaverse, and bring it as well to a new step of recommendation character, where as well the AI agent can give you recommendations how to change your bottle, how to change your parameter set to be always best on the run with all that. The lessons learned we had out of this project were that it's a very strong partnership together with Microsoft. They have great network activities. They have as well a certification system where other sub-partners can assist you for integration or hardware power. And the right team achieves really good results in short time. We started about 4 months or 5 months before the trade. And in about 10 or 12 weeks mainly, we had these results. And this was groundbreaking for Krones. And so we think when we have the right setup, we can here as well bring the next level up to April next year on the Hannover Messe. And the journey goes on. Thank you very much.
Johannes, thank you so much. Rajesh, can we have you back on stage? We're going to now go into a conversation between three of us. And the idea here is to do something that really fascinates me, that we have two industries represented here with agentic solutions, with this general technology, and what does it mean to implement it? What does it mean to make a difference? And then contrast, what are the differences between those implementations approaches and what is similar? Because I think those are questions that you must be asking. What is it that is different for me and what it is that is similar to the problem that you may be facing? So with this, I'm going to ask you to sit down and have a conversation with me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nice to hear, yeah.
Thank you. So, Johannes, let me start with this. You started talking about the ecosystem.
Yes.
It takes more than one company, one individual to make AI work. So I'm going to take this idea, and Rajesh, I'm going to ask you, what does it mean for you? Did you see the similar ecosystem level complexity and value?
Definitely yes, because so if you look at especially industrial AI, it has data, domain, technology, and AI. And our value proposition to customers is how do we bring our expertise on domain, but also looking at technologies together. And of course, when you build this, you don't want to be building each one of these elements yourself. You cannot build it as well. So you need to have an ecosystem that's going to help. For us, ecosystem means that in this case, Microsoft, which being our strategic partner for AI and Azure IoT as well as for us on the cloud. Same thing applies for even the customers, because we work with mining as a customer. We have built pretty large autonomous mines, which are underground mines, which need a lot of knowledge with the customer to do it. It is also needing to have partners who will help us on scaling on implementation. So it's always a combination, and in fact, we also have a way of bringing other partners and startup ecosystem as well to be able to build here. Yeah.
So it's a complex ecosystem. Part of that ecosystem must be the employees, the operators of the machines, of the systems that you are enabling. You've made a point that you want the 80% of the decisions that are now being made, you can actually empower the operators to make those decisions. Johannes, what does it look like, the empowering of the operator in your case, with a case of machines that you're delivering to your customers?
Yeah. If you have a liquid line like this, normally it's like this, that you deliver it for months to the customer, and they need weeks or months to get it commissioned to the full power. It's a really complex thing to parameterize all parts of the line. And the operators are partly a little bit frustrated to get it all done, then changes something, quality problems. And if you can show them that you have your instrument to get many, many things, not all, but 80% maybe, like he says, before in the digital twin reduced, then you have maximum motivation. And on the drink take, as I told, we had on the first day a group of a customer here from the service. They were such as convinced that they came on the second day with another group. And there was a really spirit to say, we need it now. We can spare weeks in the commissioning phase. And that was a good feeling for that.
And in fact, I would say that the journey of autonomous operations, one of the key elements is the operational digital twins. Of course, you looked at simulation for you to build also the look in fluid dynamics. For us, we really see that when you're going to have our systems running in a customer environment, in an industry environment, looking at its process, operational parameters, as well as even energy and asset conditions, is super important for us to build the operational digital twin. So here it is again, an ecosystem comes in importance. It's the people from technology, but also the people like compute on NVIDIA as an example, and of course the strong domain expertise on each of the industries. That's kind of really making us to bring the value to the people from the shop floor and field engineers, as I mentioned, to even the guys specialists, could be a reliability specialist, and also the decision makers and CXOs as well. Yeah.
You have as well pointed out a very important thing, that's the sustainability point, because you can as well reduce waste and other loss of efficiency in this phase. And all enterprises have pressure on sustainability and efficiency. And so this is as well a point where we can motivate the people for it. But we need real use cases. We need a business proof that it's working. What costs that? What brings that? And then we have the people, I think so.
And I think if I can add here, we at least have about 12 different industries, and we build the solutions to solve core common for 12 industries, and again going beyond, starting from the energy industries to the chemicals and manufacturing, mining, pulp and paper to transportation. One thing we can really look at common is that everybody is looking at trying to do three things, right? Improve the operational efficiency, increase the asset reliability, improve the sustainability, and emission optimizations and energy optimizations. We see many of the things, it's quite a lot that you could really leverage by means of building AI models, but making them agentic as well to be able to scale further. Yeah.
So you two brought interesting take on the business model behind what you do. So there is clearly the efficiency component of it. How do we make our operations more efficient with AI? But there is also creating new value, building completely new business models, delivering services that couldn't be delivered before.
Yeah.
Explore it for me.
Yeah, one of our main things on the Drink Tech 8 weeks ago was the line of the future. We call it Ingenic, that's the name for it. And one idea of it is to have lifecycle alliance. That means we have software service as a bottle. That means the customer gets a promise that we get such as many bottles a month, such as a quality defined run. And this promise, you have to be reliable. And to be reliable on that, you can use AI to prove in the early phase that it will work. And so these ideas of digitalization are counted on such technologies. I think so.
Yeah, I mean, very similar. For us, we have been helping customers for more than 100 years on automation and electrification. Just bringing this AI, industrial AI, and build this digital has been a totally new revenue stream for us. I mean, it's possibly closer to $1 billion business, which was not existing for us maybe like 6 years back, I would say. That's big. But even in the business models with now on the industrial AI, and now with the agentic AI, the example I was just showing that we are now not having many service engineers supporting and charging them on billable basis to the customers, and we don't need to, right? On the other hand, the agents that we created, which is helping customers, we have built a new revenue model for us, but also for customers, they are getting the 24/7 access. So that's an example. There are multiple different business models happening now, which I am pretty excited because, in fact, that's what is going to make the adoption of this technologies more and more in the industries. Right?
When you engage with your customers, I made the point that the confidence is growing, the confidence of AI being able to make a difference. So my first question is, do you see the confidence really increasing, or do you still see places and factors and dimensions of the conversations that your customers are still hesitant about?
I think it's mainly a critic thing with the confidence, but it's arising. But you have to be honest to the people. There will be many new jobs around that to get more AI in stage. And if you look in the world, the biggest companies in the world are AI companies. As well, Kronos is growing up and the customers as well. But to be honest, there will be jobs which will be not as important as today, according to it, because an AI can contribute to be more efficient. But I think that's a normal thing of cultural deployment and culture development. And there's no choice to say I will not be part of it, because if you're not part of it, anybody else in the world is, and you're gone. So you have to go with the time, and I think the main issues are positive. That's my impression of that.
Yeah, I will say just a live instance, right? Just before coming, that I was rushing to this place. I was talking to my board EC, Executive Committee meeting of ABB. The topic was AI. So AI is number one for us internally. But same thing, if I look at for customers, I talk to at least 100 plus customers as a sponsor, executive sponsor, and so on. The topic on the table is AI, but that's clear. The awareness, need, and interest is clear. But I guess what they're looking for is to see that show us real impact, which is exactly what we need to make more difference, and we are making as well, and it needs an ecosystem. Where we still struggle is in terms of that ability for us to be able to get the ROI for what you are investing, especially on what we are bringing on the top of the existing industrial or the analytical AI. When you bring the generative AI as an example, assistants that are going to bring value. But I guess the real power is by bringing them together with the agentic automation.
Yeah.
That's going to make a lot more impact in terms of getting the autonomous, right? So that's what I would say.
I think what is as well an important point, according to that, what you said, is that you have understandable AI components, what is for the people understandable. And if you go to them and say, hey, you have here an agent, you can talk with him or communicate with him, and you get this output, and you have here your own package of your knowledge where you can contribute, then the people say, oh, okay, I can arrange with that. But what is a bad thing is if you have abstract results where nobody knows what happens then to the customer or to your operators, then they are afraid of it. And that's as well a task of AI things, to get people trained and prepared for these new technologies.
I mean, we have been talking about explainable AI and responsible AI, but how do you make this action is really looking at a proper, careful agent automation with a clear orchestration of agents are critical, and keep it simple. Don't make it again complex. I mean, we have been in the world of services-oriented architecture to microservices to now the agents, but agents are really meant for the people to consume, not just again use it for developing. So the agents need to be simple for people to embrace and use it. That's true.
Okay, so now I'm going to make it a little more difficult for you, because I can see a lot of agreement here on the approach and how you think about it.
We do have some disagreement.
But yeah, tell me, what you saw in each other presentations and how you understand each other businesses and implementation. What was different? What different approaches did you take that are interesting enough in terms of a differences to share with the audience here?
Yeah, one thing I could see is that ABB, we have two phases, right? We are also an industrial OEM manufacturer like you, in which we have our machines. I would see similarities. You could potentially know, I know about the machine, I know basically my first principle models, I know my fluid dynamics, and I will be able to build a simulation plus AI model. But imagine that we are going to the other side, we are helping customers on their own operations, their own processes, where you don't have, you are possibly having your equipment and assets and control system, but customers own the process. So here, I would see that a lot will be, you have to work with them to make it as an iterative journey of making the AI to work. Yeah. It's not going to make it work on the first day, number one. Yeah. I see there's a difference between when you look at scale, and here I would see that it needs a platform approach for a company. For instance, ABB, we built GenX as a platform with using technologies from Azure. So I would say that if you're looking at a scale and you're taking multiple different industries that you want to serve, you slightly need to have an approach of where you are able to bring a code, your domain expertise for each of the industries, part of your software platform. And it has to be, and I've seen that unless you are scaling, you don't see the benefit of AI. It cannot be just a pilots. That possibly is a slightly difference within ABB itself, right? You know, I mean, I have certain businesses who are selling just the hardware products, versus we are selling the software and systems. There's a different value. So
yeah, I see as well many similarities. I think we all have B2B customers, and about 20 to 30% engineering to order part in every delivery, because always things change and are not standard. It's no standard product for end customers. But at all, you are bigger than us, more than 100,000 people. And I think we started a little bit late with OT AI. We concentrated the last 10 years more on internal AI applications to make internal processes more efficient. And in the last years, according to our no target picture of the company, digitalization and sustainability, we had a hard pressure on getting OT AI pushed. We have about now 700 people of software engineering working on that, and it's heavy arising. And I think it's more coming late and being fast, and so Microsoft contributes us here very good.
Thank you for that. Now, when I talk to customers, one thing that I consistently hear is that the quality of the AI implementations and solutions that you can build is directly correlated to the quality of the data in your company. So could you both comment on how far did you get into having your data there, fully contextualized in one lake, available across the systems, before you embark on the AI set of projects? And how much is it helping, or how much is it stopping you from being successful?
I think that's a very important point you mentioned, because data is the key for nearly everything. And if you have bad data, you will have bad output of AI applications as well. So it's very important. To answer your question, we are starting with it. We have no data organization inside our organization yet, but we're working on it hard as well with my resources in my organization. But I must be honest to you, in an operational environment, you have to convince people that data management is very important for everybody. And this is as well a hard thing in a classical engineering company with mechanical and electrical based engineers. And we are in the starting phase of it, but I think we come good in progress.
Yeah, so for us, few of the data we could also own it from ABB's side for customers. So you have quite a lot of luxury in terms of the data, contextualizing it and so on. Whereas if you look at for many customers we support, I still remember 2010, I wrote along with the Gartner the first white paper on the OT-IT convergence, operational data on IT convergence, and it's, I mean, I was proud about it, like saying that this is what you need to do. But I will tell you, 2016 also we found that only 27% of the data being used was generated, 73% is not used. So if you're going to work on only like piece of the data, imagine that you just know only like ballroom 4 of the whole Ignite that you think is Ignite, then you're missing a lot of information, right? So I think that's actually what's happening in the industry. So using an industrial IoT platform to get OT, IT, ET together, engineering data, operations, and IT was crucial for us to be able to get a contextualized data. Then you can then build like, digital twins, you can build like AI models, and you can really make an impact of what it is value. So I would say that, and for customers still it is an issue that they struggle in terms of getting this data silos integrated, but more importantly still they have a challenge of duplications of data that needs like data governance and data integrity as well. Not only in the business processes, even in the operational and IT systems together, right? So
maybe pulling us out of the technology for a second, you both decided to embark on the journey, which means that there was a set of conditions met in your company, an agreement, internal agreement to do it. Tell me about what this agreement looks like. Who decided? What's the coalition that is driving those projects forward for you?
So for us, pretty simple. For us, digital has been one of the top 3 priorities for us. Digital is digital and AI for us. Profitable growth, digital and AI, and sustainability or energy transitions. This is coming pretty much from the top, from in terms of direction. But then we looked at how do you make an impact. We got it very closer to the customers. We did not just run it as a centralized organization for a $35 billion company. We basically looked at how do you bring it for each of the industries, having a core, common, distinct approach. In my role, I run the core and common as well as enable the distinct for different industries. That's actually is the methodology that really worked. So of course, for us, it's not a nice to have. Digital and industrial AI is our lifeline. So there's no question about we need to worry about it, or we need to convince more people.
Yeah, in our organization, we founded a head of AI some years ago who has contributed different topics as well. And there's an AI council, that means a full management board, every 6 or 8 weeks, focusing directly on AI use cases for Krones. But this is only a small cap of all. I think the main key is that you bring the organization in a change management task, that everybody thinks about, as well if I'm a mechanical engineer or something, or an operator or a procurement purchasing employee, what is my contribution to get the digital idea of Krones running? And this is what our management expects from every employee. They bring this as well to our full informations for all people. That is what we expect, and we push it with trainings, with e-learnings, with, let's say, leadership inside the organization. And I think that's the key for getting fast.
Super.
So let's finish this with a quick question and a quick answer from both of you. If you could advise this group here of what is the first thing that they should do if they wanted to embark on a journey that you are on, what would it be?
Yeah, I think clear business case, clearly looking at what's the problem that you want to solve, and write it as what does the success looks like in next 6 months and 12 months. I would put across, that's one. And leverage the ecosystem, leverage the technology and partnership that really helped us. But of course, I would say that there's a significant real value of agentic AI and orchestration of agents is going to make the life of how do you bring your own software engineers or engineers and mechanical engineers to build the products, but also how do you interface with the customers, and finally, how do you bring the value to the customers as well. So,
I sign everything what you said, but in addition to that, convince the people. All of that what you told is right, and you have to convince.
And that's fundamental, yeah, absolutely. Yes. So, yeah.
Rajesh, Johannes, thank you so much. Thank you for the conversation, and thank you for being at the session.
Thank you very much.